A wise man once said, "Succession is one of those shows that sounds extremely boring when you describe it. Who that wise man is, we may never know. But his words remain true throughout time. Succession is a show you have to watch to get the hype." Sadly, the day we all dreaded has come and Succession has ended. Despite its fantastic ending, one question remains. Was Tom the right person to take over Waystar? The conclusion I came to is yes. Thanks for watching. Nah, I'm just kidding. Tom does make the most sense to become CEO, just as much as it makes sense that the kids wouldn't be a CEO. The final season does something interesting, where its last 3 episodes leading up to the finale all show different reasons as to why none of the Roy kids could be CEO, while at the same time showing Tom's resilience and ability to turn a losing situation into a winning one. That's why in this final Succession video, we're going to be talking about let's be honest. We all knew it was never going to be one of the kids. Because as Logan always said,
"But you are not serious people."
They're all big children thinking that they deserve the spot because it was promised to them or because they were born with the last name Roy. When the truth is, none of them has done anything to earn it. We've seen their flaws throughout the series, but especially in those last few episodes, we saw exactly why each kid couldn't fill Logan's shoes. In episode 8, we were shown exactly why Kendall couldn't do it. I'll admit it though, I wanted him to win. But in episode 8, he just completely shuts down. He's just not that guy, pal.
You're not that guy.
No matter how much we want him to be. For whatever reason, whether it be his morals or just the pure weight of deciding the President of the United States, Kendall could not function with this decision. Because of this, Roman had to step up and essentially make the decision for him. Kendall's other problem we see in the episode is that he's too trusting of people. He was blindsided by Shiv because he trusted her as his sister. Logan wouldn't have fallen for that. He was wary of everyone at all times. Kendall also wants people to like him, and when people don't, it makes him insecure. Logan didn't care what people thought of him, which is part of what made him so powerful. This connects to his decision making, because he constantly second guesses himself throughout the series, which leads him to fumble his second biggest shot at taking over Waystar in season 3. If his biggest fears are, do people like me and did I make the right decision, then that's not a leader people want to get behind. Which isn't exactly the case for Roman. Even though Roman doesn't care what people think of him, and he's good at making big decisions, he's got a bigger flaw. He cares about his family, and he loves them no matter what. Which to us proletarians would be an asset, but in this messed up corpo family, that is a weakness. I think part of Logan loved his kids and his family, but what made him such a fierce person in the business world was that you'd never know it, because he was willing to do anything no matter who it was. What's that? Your kid's got internal farting disease, but you talked to the lady writing a book on me? Boom, you fired. What's that? You're Amelia Earhart being eaten by crabs on a beach, but you sided with Kendall in an argument? Boom, you fired. It didn't matter who it was, Logan was always prepared for them and always willing to do what he thought was necessary. And if that meant getting rid of someone, then that's what he did. But Roman doesn't want to betray his family. I could definitely be wrong, but I think besides Connor, Roman did the least amount of backstabbing to his family, and even when he went to Logan before his death, he did it in hopes of having a relationship with his father again, and maybe even bringing them back together. His love of his family is shown throughout the show, but most directly in episode 9 at Logan's funeral. Normally that display of emotion would make you feel sympathy for him, but under the guise of a board meeting deciding the future of the company in 2 days, it isn't sympathetic, it seems weak. That's why you have people like Carl laughing at it after the fact. Even though Roman gives off this "I don't give a hoot about global warming" vibe, it becomes very clear that that was a front to shield himself. In Roman's last scene, you see him smile, because what he wanted was to be out of the stranglehold of this family-destroying corpo business. Unlike Kendall, Roman is built for the job. His problem is, to get there, it required fucking over his family, the only people in the world that he actually loves. And that's something Roman just can't do, which is why he needed out. Though, that certainly isn't a problem for Shiv. Despite my own thoughts on Shiv, she in some ways is the perfect candidate to replace Logan. She's a killer. She has and will betray her family anytime it serves her. She's able to make the big decisions without it getting to her, and she believes in herself. Her main two problems, though, are her hubris and she's a woman. I ain't one of them snowflake liberal uber feminist types. But let's be honest. If Shiv was a man, she probably would have been ahead of Kendall. That's just the gosh-darn truth. But she has shown throughout the show that she was able to break out of that so-called mold many times, where she was taken seriously by Logan and others, only for her to fumble it every single time. And she fumbled it because she thinks she's always the smartest person in the room. I'm not saying Shiv is stupid or anything. She just ain't as smart as she thinks she is. She thinks she's Einstein level, but really, she's just above average in intelligence. Because of this, she constantly trips herself up, ruining relationships by overreaching, thinking she can just do and say anything to a person to get what she wants, and they'll just remain loyal to her. This is best displayed in episode 7 when we get Shiv versus Tom. She believes she could treat Tom in any way she pleased, expecting him to take it and to be loyal to her no matter what. Sure, that may sound similar to Logan, but the difference is that Logan rewarded you for staying loyal, and he even rewarded you for coming back to him. With Shiv, it's, I treat you like dirt and I expect you to be loyal to me. You can also see this in her relationship with Madsen, because he even says later he doesn't like her overreaching, which is why he doesn't pick her. And her overreaching is a big reason why her 1,000-brain plays always land on their face, because she believes her plan is the best and any road bumps completely veers it off course. I've said this for a while, but Shiv is her own worst enemy. Here we go again, with another incredible interlude. In case you weren't aware, I stream on Twitch every week, so feel free to come by and enjoy some grade A tomfoolery. I've also finally made 2 of my old videos public for your viewing pleasure. Now time for a quick stat. 96% of my viewers are not subscribed. So, if you've enjoyed the video so far, feel free to subscribe. If not, understandable. Have a great day. In retrospect, it was always gonna be Tom. Whereas the kids felt as though they deserved the top spot for just being born a Roy, Tom had to earn it. As he says, he didn't come from a wealthy family, so unlike the Roy kids, he knew what there was to lose because he had been on different sides of the financial spectrum. He knew the stakes in the game, and he wasn't willing to lose. Tom has everything the Roy kids are lacking. Unlike Kendall, Tom knows how to make a big decision, and if he thinks something will make him look bad, he has somebody else do it for him. In episode 7, Tom has Greg fire a ton of people instead of himself. This was supposed to be Tom's job, but he made Greg the face of it. Doing this keeps the spotlight off of him as to not step on any toes. You may be saying, well, doesn't that mean he cares what people think of him like Kendall? Yes and no. The difference between Tom and Kendall is Ken cares what people think of him on a personal level. Tom cares what people think of him on a business/competence level. What I mean by that is Kendall's problem is he wanted people to want to be friends with him. Tom wants people to believe that he's competent but subservient. This difference is important. One seems desperate while the other seems hardworking and malleable. Tom was like Roman once, but then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. By that I mean when he betrayed Shiv at the end of season 3. If not for Tom betraying Shiv, he would have been stuck in the Roman hole, where he didn't want to go against his loved ones, keeping him from reaching his killer potential. And yes, I do believe Tom did love Shiv, But in that finale, he realized that kind of thing is irrelevant in this crusty corporate world. So he did what needed to be done, which was to do right for himself instead of waiting to get something by standing with Shiv. This is the part that he needed to get rid of to become a top contender, and it shows in season 4. Before Logan's death, he was in the inner circle unlike before. In that moment, Tom became a killer. Tom and Shiv's relationship embodies the differences between them, and the reason he succeeds while she becomes a mother. Tom doesn't have the hubris Shiv has. He tries to be confident in his decisions unlike Kendall, but unlike Shiv, he makes his decisions that help him, but on the surface, help others. The biggest example is in that season 3 finale again, the gift that just keeps on giving. On the surface, it seems like he is being a loyal puppet to Logan, but the reason he does it is to secure his spot and become a trusted asset to Logan and to ruin his opposition. The reason this is different than Shiv is because her decisions aren't hidden enough. It's clear what she wants and what her goal is. The reason it's like that is because she's essentially a big child. When Tom wants some water, he says, "Hey, is anybody thirsty? Anybody need some drinks?" When Shiv needs some water, she's like,
I want bottle. Give me water. I'm me thirsty. Give me water.
Tom puts it under the guise of helping other people. Shiv just whines and complains like a child. Tom, just like Logan, also rewards people who return to him and who stay loyal to him. In the finale, Tom finds out Greg told the Roy kids that Madsen wasn't going to pick Shiv. Yeah, he lashed out, but still took Greg back despite Greg betraying him. When Greg was loyal to Tom, he took him out of the endless middle to the bottom of the top. That's not to say he lets them walk all over him though. He takes Greg back at the end with some pay cuts. He understands that you have to give back to the person so that you can keep him. Tom has the qualities that the kids lack, but while each one has a different ability that the other kid is lacking, Tom has one that none of them have. His ability to take a beating and appear subservient. Throughout the show, Tom takes a mental and emotional beating from essentially everyone around him except for Greg. Despite his constant harassment, he deals with it not only because he likes being rich, but because it keeps showing results. The more he takes, the more he gets. In season 1, he's the head of cruises. Not a bad job. And by season 4, he's the head of ATN, essentially the heart of Waystar. He got there from being resilient and by being subservient to competent people. To a lot of people, his subservience seems weak, but he doesn't do it willy-nilly. He knows who holds the real power and who the competent people are, and he sticks to them. Just look at his first scene as CEO. He gets rid of Carl and Frank and puts Jerry in. Jerry is very obviously more competent than both Frank and Carl. And the only reason she was probably fired in the first place was because of the stuff with Roman. And in the season 3 finale, again, he could have very well stayed with the siblings and kept his position just the same, but he stuck with Logan, not just because he was scared of Logan or because he was mad at Shiv. He did it because the most likely to succeed in the long term and the most competent of the 4 was Logan. Same with Madsen. He stuck with Madsen because even though Madsen's numbers were phooey, he knew he was the real deal by the fact that he created an entire tech company. Whereas the kids did what exactly? Spent a lot of money? Tom isn't Logan, nor was he trying to be. He was Tom through and through, and because of that, Tom deserves to be CEO of Waystar. I'll miss Succession. It was a show I eagerly waited for every week and had me buzzing around people telling them to watch it. It helped my YouTube channel more than I could have ever wished for, and I'm thankful to this show and to the people who have taken the time to watch my videos. I'm happy to say that Succession remains one of the best shows of all time.